All right, so we're going to airbrush this bad boy a dark black brown. You can see what I've done here is I have put on use the kit canopy as a mask. I had to stuff a little bit of Kleenex in there, and then I put the piece I cut off down here on the bottom, but that way everything's ready to go. And the color scheme on this is going to be overall this black brown color. It's not dead black like I want to be able to do things like a wash or something of it. So that's why that's not going to be exactly like that, because jet black is fine, except I don't think in this case it's going to be too useful. So I want to thin this a tad. It looked a little on the thick side. Now this does look kind of gray, or a brownish color, but when you stick it onto the model and then when you put the other color we're going to use on there, I think it will look just grand. So I'm going to paint the whole thing this color, because the whole airplane is going to be this color, and that's because of the color scheme we're going to have. We're going to have basically a really neat sort of spidery look. We're going to paint everything black. The bottom is going to remain black, of course, but then the top is going to have sort of these little black spider webs through it, and then the rest of the top is going to be this really pretty like light blue gray color, which to me is a nice that's a nice night fighter color. I don't know how accurate it is, but I'm going to have this light bluish color along with that, along with these little tentacles of black, which will look really good. Now again, this you can tell the color. I hope you can tell the color doesn't look jet black at all, but it's not supposed to. But once we put our light colors on here, it will make this look very dark. So we're doing well. There's no problems. I also did a couple more little panel line things on here, but lordy, I had a problem with that. I forgot how much fun it is doing panel lines. It is not easy. It is an art form, and it's also something that's very difficult to film, in my opinion. So I didn't show any more. I should have, but I didn't. But it's because it really wasn't worth it to show you. I was doing such a poor job that it didn't seem like it was worthy of your time. And so I decided, I'm just going to do it off camera. And I'm kind of glad I did, because I do think you would just be bored to tears. I know I was. Especially the way I photograph these things. If I ever get a camera that actually would work better for this stuff, maybe when I get a couple million subscribers and I'm monetized, I'll get myself something that actually works. That's not a goal, by the way. I'm just kind of joking. But the bottom will remain this color, so this will be the Night Fighter dark color, which will be just fine. And then we will mask this off, and we will mask this off, and we will do our light color after we mask off these little tubes that are going to remain black on the surface, and then the bottom half, of course, will remain this black color. Now, I don't know, to be honest, how I'm going to make those things, these little spider pieces. I wonder if I couldn't use blue tack or something and just really carefully really carefully sort of, it's probably dry enough, yeah, really carefully go ahead and put blue tack down, and I wonder if that would be enough. I don't know. I'm just making sure the bottom's all covered. I got all the nacelles covered. Everything is looking good. So step one is complete, making sure all the leading edges and trailing edges done. So we're good. And again, using the old canopy as a mask is beautiful. You don't have to cut any weird masks or stuff into the interior, because this interior is rather delicate, as you might remember. It's going to fall to pieces if I'm not careful. There's so many little bits and pieces that stick out that are delicate. So there we go. There it is, sort of initially covered. And the fun part's going to be masking. So I'll take you along and show you some of the masking here in a little bit. But that, as they say, is that. Like I said, what I'll do next is mask the line that's going to be the light blue on top. So I'll mask all this stuff underneath so it stays nice and dark. Then I will put my snakes on here and we'll see how that goes. Should work like a charm. At least in theory, it's going to work like a charm. I really hope it does. Okay, so there you go. At least that's a start, and we will go from there. All right, everybody, so what I did here was take some blue tack and put it all over this thing so that all those little squiggles hopefully will stay dark. And then I mixed a light gray color, and I took off the top of the airbrush so that I should be able to spray this pretty easily. And what I'm going to try to do is spray this in such a way that there's actually like a haze that forms. I'm just trying to kind of go straight up and down on the parts, because I want it to be a soft edge if I can help it. I've never done this before, so this might be a disaster. Hoping not, but it might be. So all I'm doing is spraying this as simply as I can, not trying to make it real difficult. I'm going to fill in some stuff later anyway, when it comes time. But it'll be really fun to see if this turns out. I don't know. This is all kind of an experiment. I can sort of fill some things in a little bit. My compressor just went on, pardon me. So again, what I'm doing is just kind of, I'm trying to spray perpendicular to the putty so that I don't get any hard marks. We're gonna see if this works. I don't know. Going over another time, because it seems like it's a little. I'm hoping I'm not overspraying onto the bottom. I mean, I can go back and do a little bit of touch-up, certainly. And this isn't white, it's a real light gray. And the hope is that it will look cool. I don't know if it will look cool. We will find out together when I pull this thing off. Let me see how she rolls. And then in between some of these squiggles, we're going to put another basic color in there too. So it doesn't have to be perfect because the real airplane wouldn't have been perfect either. I got some overspray on the black, but not a huge amount. So maybe now is a good time to call it quits and just say, you know, I'm done. Because, yeah, I think we're going to let it go. And what we'll do, I can never let it go, you know that. What we'll do is come back once this is all dry, and we shall, you know, pull it apart together and see how dumb it looks. And then we'll put slightly different color in between these dark places. I'm really curious what it looks like with the dark against the light. It might be too stark, can't tell. I think it could look really cool though. This is based on a picture of a real airplane. It's not like accurate like you're gonna do your PhD thesis or something, but it's close to something that was there. It's finally a cool color scheme. So we're gonna stop there. We're gonna stop there, there, and then we shall wait and see. We'll pull it off, see how it looks. I think that's gonna be kind of cool. I really hope it worked. I guess we'll see. Well, here it is, all painted. And we're gonna start pulling off this stuff and see what happens. I'm hoping for a lot of, not hard demarcation. I'm looking for fog. That actually looks really good right there, but I don't know if it's gonna continue. If there's places that aren't quite right, I can go back and spray them a little bit. But so far, I have to say, that's looking pretty good. Even places that are like that is okay. And if there's something I don't like, it is easy to fix it. Wow, this is coming along okay. I did not really expect this. I thought it was going to be a huge epic fail. Look at that. Huh, it's looking pretty cool. Now, I couldn't put the canopy stuff on because I do think that would have pulled apart because it's the vac form canopy that I made. So I am just going to go back and use clear decal film, spray it this light color, and put it on, which should be just fine. Well, that's not so bad. Because on the real airplane, there's parts that aren't exactly perfect, and I can go back and probably work them a little bit more, just with some post airbrushing. And then in between, in the light gray parts, in between the dark squiggles, there's going to be another color, either a dark gray or some kind of RLM color that's going to sort of go in between things as well. And yeah, see, this is actually really good. It did what I wanted to do. Each of the lines is not super, super sharp. We didn't want sharp. We wanted it to be a little bit hazy. So like a little bit of overspray. And so I am pretty pleased. And then we'll turn it over and we'll look at the side, see how much overspray I got on the underside. But again, that can be fixed with a little bit of that airbrush works so well. Look at all that stuff. That's cool. Looks like a bunch of Ascaris worms we got out of a pig. There you go. Look at that. Yeah, if there's parts like this that I want to make a little bit better, I can. Now, what kind of overspray do I have? I got very good to nothing on that side. I got very good to nothing on this side. I got a little bit under here that I can hit with a little bit of that color again. Overall, I say that's a success. And it's going to be even cooler when we put the other little bits on there. Sweet. All right, everybody. So, as we said, there's some places on here that need to touch up. So, like, I want to put a little bit of darker, make this little piece there a little more defined, a couple places like that. I also want to hit this part, which has overspray. So what I've done is I have put some of that black brown into the airbrush. I took off the tip and I thinned it, and that's the kind of line I can get. I hope you can see that. That's pretty good. So I'm going to go in here first off and try to kind of make this stuff disappear, that overspray. Looks good to me. And I think there's some more overspray on an engine nacelle. I know there's some more somewhere. But what we'll start to do now is play around with this a little bit. With this very fine, I should be able to come in here and refine a few places. Okay, takes a little practice, I guess. But I'm just trying to. There's places where, to me, it doesn't have to be perfect, because again, to me, it wouldn't be perfect. These guys wouldn't have spent hours and hours making this just perfecto when they were in combat, for crying out loud. So, and little sprays here and there, little foibles, to me, it's not horrible. But there's some place like this I really want to get, because that to me doesn't look very good. A little more like that. This piece I think needs to be a little help. Just a few places, especially along the fuselage side, I guess. That's really where I had problems. This part here needs some help. Just a wee bit. And then this needs a little bit of help. And who knows, maybe I could have done this all freehand. Maybe. But this side needs a little help too. I hope you can actually see this a little bit. This needs help for sure down here. Not too bad. So, I wonder if I could put some that were like little extra squiggles here and there. Would that be kind of fun to do? Okay, I think I might do that a little bit. It's kind of fun to do too. I thought the way I did it made sense. But it's kind of fun to play around and see what else you can do. There's a part that's really terrible. Kind of just mask that away like that. Here's a piece that can use a little help. Yeah. So this is all I'm going to be doing. And the next thing to do will be to add, like in the gray parts, a little extra schmutz, a little extra color. And I think I'm going to use this this Grau Violet color. I think that could be cool in there. I'm going to put some sort of random like splotches in there. This is good practice what I'm doing right now, just because it'll make it look a little better. But I'm glad I got that out of the way. That overspray, it's good to have that gone. So this is certainly good enough that it's no problem getting this to look good. You know, yeah, this is good. This is really going well. I'm not that surprised, I guess, because I've been doing this since I was 3. But you still kind of wonder if it's going to work. At least I do. And you can see my hands are shaking a little bit because I'm getting some funny overspray here and there. But I kind of like those finer lines every once in a while. Like that's kind of cool. So I am going to go about doing that for a little bit. And sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I will come back with that gray violet and put it in there. Yeah, that's looking good. Yeah, this is going to be good. I like it. So I am going to let you go. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let's, while I got you here, why don't we change paints and try a little bit of the other color. Try some of the gray violet and see if we can't make it look cool. Yeah, I kind of like that. Putting the finer lines in there is kind of cool. I think it actually looks more like the actual airplane I'm trying to model. They wouldn't have been, again, all perfect by any means. So I'm not all that worried if they aren't absolutely the best thing ever. But you can see, with practice and more skill than I have, you could really, man, you could really have a field day with this. That's wild. That's, you know, that means I'm not crazy. That means that we can do this stuff. It's not impossible. People can make it more difficult or do a better job than I can, but, you know, if I can do this, you can do this. This isn't rocket science. Truly. I just hope that you're seeing, I hope that the little camera is doing its deal. I hope that you can actually see what I'm doing. It's also hard to do because I'm actually spraying further away than I would. Usually I'm up much closer when I'm trying to do this. But I'm trying to get a little video. And that makes everything more difficult. In my opinion. Okay. Why don't we, maybe one more here. One more here. So you can do this forever. Okay. We are going to say, let's do a couple on the side here just to get the fuselage. Oh, let's get one here. Let's do this. This back end looks pretty bad. Cool. Let's get a couple on the fuselage side here. Just to make it look a little more interesting. Just, you know, just trying to make it look cool. And I think it looks cool. So yeah, with some practice, I probably could have done the whole thing just freehand, to be honest. But I'm also glad I didn't, because using those other things was a good test. And they did actually seem to work really well. Okay, so that's those. See, if I touched everything up as best I can, and it looks better than it did. And now I will go in and I shall work on trying to make these little splotches here with that other color, which should make it look pretty good. So I am trying to base this on the pictures I've seen of the airplane. That's why I'm Again, it's based. It's not an exact replica. And that is just fine. Yeah, we're gonna say that's good. What I am concerned about is, are there any other places that I had overspray? I thought there were, of the top onto the bottom, but I guess it looks all right. I'm looking at the nacelles. I got that part. I guess we're okay. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll clean this out and we'll try some of this color just to show you what it looks like, and then we'll I won't put you through all of this pain, and I'll just show it to you when it's done so that you can kind of enjoy that. Okay, yeah, I like the skinnier pieces in various places, skinnier lines look kind of neat. All right, so let me switch this out and we'll come back. Okay, so I got some of this little color in here. Let's put some of this in a couple of splotches here and there. I want to make these kind of like clovers or something, or kind of random little shapes kind of all over. So that's what I'm going to do over the whole aeroplane. That's what I'm going to do over the whole airplane. And we're going to see how that looks. You don't want to, but you know, the worst comes to worst, you could in fact, you know, strip the whole thing and start over. I mean, it's not something that you want to do because you just worked so hard to get this to look good. If you had to, you could. So I'm going to go through and do this all over the whole airframe, and we'll come back later and show you what it looks like. So that's what I'm going to spend my time doing. But I think that's going to make it look cool. And then when I put exhaust stains on there and we do some post shading, and oh man, I think it's going to look pretty awesome. Cool. Nice looking. All right, so here she is. I hope you can see it. There's that grau violet pieces are kind of sprayed randomly in between all the little dark squiggles. Kind of like it. It's going to look even better once we do some more weathering. I think what we'll do now is probably gloss coat this thing, put decals on it, and then we'll dull coat it. We'll seal the decals with some more gloss coat. Then we will put weathering on it and stuff like that. We'll dull it down, put some weathering on, especially in the exhaust areas, and some dirt and mess and muck, especially on the bottom side, have to be, you know, altered a little bit. And then we will we'll see how that looks. But right now, in terms of being a night camouflage, I think it's really cool looking. Looking nice.